Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Definitely a thumbs up for that. Hokey smokes. Well, it is definitely a brand new day. I have not been outside yet. I have had a slow day. I took my time. I took a shower. I have done some things, so I haven't been outside yet. I'll go walkies as soon as I'm done with all this, so it's not like I'm going to stay trapped inside here. And when I go out, last night I went for a long walk and I speed walked like I normally do. Oh, it was good. Now, the speed walking part was good. My heel, well, toward the end it wasn't good, but you know what else it wasn't? It wasn't terrible. It was just bad. Oh my God, that is such an improvement. Just bad is good. So, yeah, I was able to race walk during the entirety of it, and that was definitely a thumbs up. Again, didn't feel great at the end, but for a large portion of it, it didn't hurt. So definitely a thumbs up for that. But there are some things that I do want to talk about. Last night I went to play the game Greedland. Greedland is, I think it's Chinese, and it's one of these bullet heaven games, and it's a science fiction thing, and it's three-dimensional, still, isometric from up above. But it had been ages since I had played, so I wanted to reset my progress. I couldn't find anything on the store page or in the forum. So I tried to Google it. For the first time, I felt actual anxiety while trying to search. Now, I feel anxiety for the weirdest things, but I'm not in control of my anxiety. I have had in the past anxiety just trying to remember things. Because I can't remember it, my anxiety will ramp through the roof. One example of this is I was having, for the longest time, so I couldn't go near the memory, I was trying to remember the name of a book that I remembered reading when I was like 8 years old, because my grandfather had a whole bunch of paperback books and I was an avid reader. And I remember reading the book and I could not remember the name of the book. What a shocker. But I eventually actually remembered the name of the book. It was called Pseudo People. It was a collection of stories about, androids, robots, etc., where they were the main character. And since I read it, or at least looked through it, very early age, it must have been written in the 40s or 50s. I can't remember, but I looked it up and finally did remember. Yeah, Pseudo People. So I couldn't go near that memory for a very long time. And I still have memories like that, but not many. But when I was trying to find the information on this, one of the problems with search engines right now, especially on Google's side, is they rewrite your question so that they can better serve ads to the rewritten question and not the question you're asking. You might ask, well, what price are brown eggs? And it's not going to give you the what price are brown eggs. It's going to go, well, you know what? Let's tell them the best price of eggs in their closest area in places that pay us money. And then those are the results that you get in your sponsored and in the first page stuff. My question was easy. How reset game progress? Greedland. It wouldn't answer the question. The closest it got was a full page and more of telling me how to re-download game files through Steam. It's not my question. It would not answer my question. It rewrote my question and answered that one with no way for it to answer my question on my end. It would only answer theirs, not mine. And God, it's a bug. I don't know why I'm so itchy right here. Annoying. But it was my anxieties just going through the roof because I could not answer that question. Simple question with the tools given to me to answer questions manipulated in such a way that they wouldn't answer my question, only their questions. I still don't know how to reset my game progress on the game. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. Also on my list, yesterday I talked about the web series Chaotic Good Barbarian on Dungeon Soup. I laugh, but part of it is laughing because while funny, some of the things are funny because they're not funny. I mean, he tortures this one hag who's been evil by shoving her face in a boiling potion which burns off the meat, her skin off of her lower face, and then squirts lemon onto her so that the acid caused even more pain. I laughed like an idiot from that. Is it funny? In kind of the vaudeville pratfall type way. But it's funny because it's horrific. It's funny because it's not funny. Which is a big part of actual dark humor. And I like MK and a couple things like that where they do Reddit readings. They do readings on some of these various Reddit and the subreddits on Reddit where there's like bone hurting juice and such like that, where they're quite often they're funny because they're not funny. And there's two kinds of not funny. I mean, there's like real life not funny, where you're trying to make jokes about real things that happen that aren't funny. And then there's not funny, as in you're making a joke that it doesn't land. But when you're intentionally trying to make a joke that does not land, and in fact, you steer that plane straight into the ground as quick and hard as you can, that can be hysterical. So, Chaotic Good Barbarian and the horrific things he does. This character is a monster, and I do not say that lightly. This is even the person that makes it. When occasionally we'll have the barbarian push their face into camera from the side, and the caption underneath it will be, "The face of terror incarnate appears." Now, this is not a good individual. This is a monster. I mean, there's the Lich in the very first time you see them, where he actually says, "You're a monster," to them. And yeah, you've seen the Lich 2 times since. The first time, the barbarian said he was going to shove a pole up inside and through him and out his mouth and wear him on his back like a wriggling trophy. The next 2 times you see him, that's exactly what he's done. He's a monster that I, of course, laugh horrifically at. So thumbs up on that. Which leads to, I just finished watching a video on a game called Nosferatu, The Wrath of Malachi, which is a game I have, but it's incredibly difficult, and so me with my... I have lost the ability to really hyperfixate / hyperfocus at will. Before, when I was younger, and I didn't realize that I had ADHD, and what I was doing was hyperfixating and hyperfocusing, I would do that and reap the benefits. It's become harder and harder and harder to voluntarily hyperfixate / hyperfocus as I've gotten older. And unfortunately, that means I play a lot of games for a little bit of time, until I forget what I'm doing. But one of the reasons I'm bringing all this up is watching the video about this. The fellow was talking about it. He was mentioning one thing he hates. And I understand why people do it out of fear, but it's use of terms like unalived and all this instead of using their actual words to describe. And I understand, I do this. There have been times that I use these euphemisms because I don't want to lose the penny or two that I might have for the video I'm talking in. At the same time, I am fully unable to remember that I'm doing these sorts of things, so I might start off the video saying unalived, and then halfway through the video I'm talking about murdering people and cannibalizing their corpses. So any attempt on my side to be careful is usually just a wasted effort. But this person was talking about how they just hated it. And there was only one word that they actually have had a real problem with YouTube with. And even at that, the video that was demonetized because of the word, see you next Tuesday, because of that word, it had been demonetized and then got remonetized. So even that, short-term punishment, because if it comes, your video goes down, it was the first moment that you put it live, and then you keep it up instead of editing that out of there. By the time, that YouTube might be remonetizing, wow, that was hard to say, my apologies, everyone's already watched your video. So, yeah, on that. But, yeah, it all depends. There's self-unaliving. I'm going to use terms like that. YouTube took away one of my videos entirely just when I talked about how when it comes to eating, I have no good middle ground. I either eat too much or I do not eat at all. I don't know how to be here. And when I'm over onto the do not eat at all side, well, I talked about that because it's a problem. I have a nom-nom problem. But when I talked about it, that got the whole video taken down. So yeah, I understand why people use euphemisms. Now I just don't talk about it. Sure, maybe talking about it could help people. But talking about it is also going to have the video taken down. So yeah. But past that, I will talk about how my cryptids will actively chase down human beings and devour them, as they lay there on the ground begging and screaming to not die. And as they're doing that, the cryptids are eating them alive. Until they bleed out, of course. You pass out first, then you die, and then they just finish off your corpse. But they're beautiful and wonderful people. Some of them have to eat human beings. Among the dark cryptids, only 2% of them have to eat human beings for dietary reasons. If they do not, they will starve to death. Only about 2% of them that aren't in that category devour human beings simply because it's within their nature. They can, so they do. But the kind of cryptids they are generally very unpleasant, the type that go around serial killing and such like that, because not all cryptids are happy and friendly. And then, of course, there are the light cryptids that not a single one of them has to. No dietary requirements for a light cryptid to devour a human being in any way, shape, or form. But starting about 100 years ago, as the generations have been going on, that's slowly been changing. I talk about the one cryptid, Polly, who she eats about 4 or 5 people every single month. Her parents, her mother, Clausy, over the past 20 years has eaten 14 people. Her parents, they did the common thing, and they ate about 2 once when they were young, And then when older and they had forgotten, they did it again just to remember. And then their parents, bonk into the microphone over there, their parents, they might have, they probably did. Did they talk about it? No. And then before that, it just didn't happen. Of course, sheer survival, that does happen. I mean, if a cryptid is faced between starving to death or devouring a human being, they are not going to be going against their nature to devour that human being to stay alive. So things like that, if they have to, things that they must do, they will. But light cryptids don't have to. But as stated, light cryptids like Polly they're just open about being hungry. And even though they have human friends and would defend to the death their human friends from being eaten by other cryptids, they don't have any issues with actually devouring light human beings. Which good thing those human beings with their third eye open, there is a genetic imperative for cryptids to not devour those beings. If you do so, or even start to think so, it is along the lines of going against your nature. Even if it's within your nature to devour human beings, and it's time for you to eat someone or starve, you're not going to eat that human being that has their third eye open. Genetic imperative. Everyone thinks it's culture, but no, it's genetic. Emergent systems, yay. But still, that's how I'm doing with all that, trying to keep things in mind. There's other characters and situations that I want to talk about later, but I will wrap it up with this thing right here quick, which is just to remind people, out of the blue, the quick nuts and bolts, no meat on it, just simple, laid down in its barest terms for cosmic/existential horror. It is basically, it can be boiled down to, it is a being, an object, a location, or a situation that we cannot understand, existing or doing something in a fashion we cannot comprehend, with little or no interest in human health, safety, or lives. Boiled down to its lowest common denominator, that's what it is. With the proviso that for existential horror, it is just exactly the same as cosmic horror, except it's taking time out of its busy schedule to fuck with you personally. Now, even in the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, Cthulhu is an existential threat. Even though it's the way that Cthulhu exists is cosmic horror, Cthulhu, they live their life going planet to planet just so when the stars are right, they can get up and just bust the place up. That is Cthulhu's joy. They like to destroy everything that's on planets. And they're not one being of great power. Cthulhu is just one of a species, a race. If they need help, they call in more, because they're just one of however many that are in their species. But Cthulhu is an existential horror, because they definitely take time out of their busy day to fuck with you personally. You, of course, being defined as either an individual, a family, a community, a city, a nation, a continent, a hemisphere, a planet, a star system, a galaxy, a universe. So thumbs up on that. And hey, call to action, if you could like, comment, share, subscribe. That would be very cool. Making sure to share only with people you think would like watching an old man yammer on in an incomprehensible fashion about thoroughly inane things. That would be very cool. I know it's pronounced inane, but I've been pronouncing it inane for so long that, well, that's the way it is now. So thumbs up on that. If you're a patron, thumbs up and thank you. You are beautiful and awesome. Life is difficult in these United States, and they're going to get harder over the next 4 years. Thank you so much for your help. It is appreciated to no end. Definitely thumbs up. When you look in the mirror, you're looking at someone who is beautiful and awesome. For everybody to leave, itchy. I think I'm getting tickled by the hairs right along my cut here. Joy. But if you left me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome in your own way. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up and heart every comment that YouTube allows, and I answer as many as my nerve compression will let me, which isn't as many as I would like, but it's better than none, so thumbs up on that as well. I'm going to edit, render, upload, and then I'm also going to be doing other things that I have to do. I'm going to be checking with people. I need to walk over to the community center again, just so I can show them that I am still alive. I actually want to talk to them about that sort of thing, because if anything happens, I'd rather not lay in here after suffering a stroke and dying of dehydration after a week, because everyone just figured I was going out for walks after when it got dark. Maybe they should come check on me if they haven't seen me by 4 o'clock every single day. That way, if I need help, they can do so. So I want to talk to them about that. Yay. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. That would be very, very cool. And of course, if you've watched this far, just to show that you are a beautiful and awesome person, and to help the YouTube algorithm understand that people do watch these videos. That would be very cool. If you could type Jumbo into the comments, that would be very, very awesome. Thank you so very much. It is appreciated. Hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. If not, please do not beat yourself up. It will not help you get it done next time, and you deserve better. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing. Yeah, no words of wisdom. I'm just going to hit the stop recording button now. I mean, this is kind of an Easter egg.